Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Algonquin Highlands Committee of Adjustment meeting for July the 31st. I'd just like to welcome all the members back after being off for a few months. And I would like to offer a particular welcome to our new member, John Rogers, who brings a wealth of knowledge to our group. This is a new experience for us all, so we're working through some technical difficulties, and we'll just do our best to get through the meeting without any glitches. So, having called the meeting to order, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest or nature thereof? Hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of the meeting minutes of February the 28th. By show of hands, could I have a mover and seconder to approve the minutes? Moved by Julie Shortreed, seconded by Chris Woods. My apologies for the purposes of the public. Just to let you know who's here as committee members. We have Julie Shortreed, who is a member of council, and members of the public are Gary Trapp, John Rogers, and Chris Woods.
Motion. So be it resolved, moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by Chris Woods. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves as circulated the meeting agenda of July 31st, 2020. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
And Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
Thank you. We'll now move into the to new business, as we don't have any business arising from the minutes. So our first item is Carol on Oxton Lake.
Sorry, we just need to approve the previous minutes. I'll just need a mover and seconder. That was to adopt the agenda.
Is that on here? Okay, my apologies. That motion was to adopt the agenda, which unfortunately wasn't on my sheet. So I do need a mover and a seconder for the approval of the minutes. Motion by Julie Shortreed, seconded by Chris Woods.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by Chris Woods. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves as circulated the meeting minutes of February 28th, 2020. Liz Danielson, John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
And Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move into the new business. The first item being Carol on McClintock Lake, and Sean will give you his report.
Yes, this property is located at 1056 Keysbury Drive. The subject lands are zoned.
Sean, do we get to see you?
No, I won't be on camera, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, so the subject lands are zoned shoreline residential 2 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The property is approximately 0.64 acres in area with 63.3 meters of frontage on Oxton Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling and 3 sheds. The applicant is proposing to construct a new roof on the dwelling. This will result in an increase in height of the existing structure, which is considered legal non-complying, as it is currently set back 10.9 meters from the high water mark. The proposed roof will not result in an increase in the building footprint or overall floor area. However, a minor variance is required as the existing dwelling is currently legal non-complying and the proposed roof is increasing the height of this structure. Therefore, the following minor variance is being sought. From section 4.10.51 of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in height of a legal non-complying structure from 3.56 meters to 4 meters. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, circulated to the Oxtongue Lake Property Owners Association, and circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands. To date, no objections have been received, and staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variance with the following conditions. One, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And two, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline.
Does the applicant or the applicant's representative wish to speak to the application?
Hi there, this is Lauren. It's pretty straightforward. My client wishes to put a new roof on the house and increase the slope to a 612 from a 5 and 312, mostly just to reduce the maintenance because they're getting a lot of snow buildup and leaks, and they're getting older, and they just they can't deal with the shoveling of the roof anymore. So the variance, an increase of 18.5 inches, less than a half a meter, is not significant, and the curb appeal of the house is improved as well.
Do any members of the committee have questions for either Sean or the applicant?
There's one person who would like to speak to it as well.
Okay.
Michelle, yeah.
We have someone on the line who wishes to comment on the application.
Hi, thank you for fitting me into your busy COVID schedule. I just want to let you know that a significant portion of my annual income comes from renting my cottage, so I was concerned about the noise of the project, especially since our cottages are within 50 feet of one another. I tried to work out a compromise with the Carrolls this morning. They agreed to let me know as soon as possible when construction would start and stop. They did not agree to halt construction for 2 weeks when I have pre-existing bookings, so I'll need to cancel those. But since there's been a lot of previous and existing disagreements between the Carrolls and I was asking council to consider a stipulation in their building permit, and the stipulation simply being that they indeed notify me of the start and end times of construction as soon as they know. And I appreciate you considering this stipulation. Hopefully most people heard it. Thank you.
I'm not sure that your request relates to a matter of planning. We do have a noise bylaw in place that stipulates the hours within which construction can take place. And I'm sure that we can make that information available to you if you want to call into our administration office. They can give you the hours when construction is allowed to take place. Unfortunately, I don't believe that there's any more that we can do about that particular concern when it relates to planning matters. Are there any other comments? If we could just hold on a moment, we've lost one of our members. There you are. Welcome back. Are there any questions from the committee members with respect to this application or concerns? One more time, any questions?
Need a mover and a seconder?
Could I have a mover and a seconder on this resolution? Moved by Julie, seconded by, for reading the resolution,
John.
John?
Sorry, I second that.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application AHMV 03/20 to seek relief from section 4.10.51 of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in height of a legal non-compliant structure from 3.56 meters to 4 meters, subject to the following conditions. One, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And two, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Gary, yay or nay?
That's a yay.
Thank
I don't
you.
know why you're not hearing me.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
Motion's carried.
And just a reminder to the applicant that there's a 20-day waiting period to allow for any appeals that might take place. The next item on our agenda is Delizer on Mandarin Lane. You can hear your report, please, Mr. Planner.
Yes. This property is located at 1009 Mandarin Lane. The subject lands are zoned shoreline residential 2 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The property is approximately 0.36 acres in area with 48.5 meters of frontage on Maple Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling and a shed. The owner is proposing to construct an 80 square foot addition on the front of the existing dwelling. The existing dwelling is currently set back 11.9 meters, and the proposed addition will be 10.5 meters from the high water mark. The addition will be located adjacent to the existing screened-in porch structure. The lands are limited in available building locations that would conform to the zoning requirements due to lot size, septic location, and topographical constraints. Therefore, the following minor variance is being requested from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 10.5 meters for the purpose of constructing a 80 square foot addition to an existing dwelling, a variance of 4.5 meters. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands and to the Maple Beach Cameron Lakes Property Owners Association. No objections have been received to date, and staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variance with the following conditions. One, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 10.5 meters to the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. Two, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And three, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline.
Are there any comments or to be made by the applicant or the applicant's representative?
No, there's not.
Okay, there's no one here to represent the applicant. Are there any questions or concerns that any members of the committee might have? Hearing none. If I could have a mover and a seconder for the resolution to approve this application. Moved by Julie Shortreed, seconded by
I'll second it.
Chris Woods.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by Chris Woods. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application AHMV 00420 to seek relief from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 10.5 meters for the purpose of constructing a 80 square foot addition to an existing dwelling, subject to the following conditions. One, confirmation being provided by an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 10.5 meters to the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. Two, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And three, appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Our next application is from Leslie on Ordnance Lane, Lake of Bays.
Yes, so we did receive some comments on this application, which is a proposal for a existing vacant lot to reduce the setback from 30 meters to the 20 meters. And the comments came from the County of Haliburton. And my recommendation has changed from approval to actually defer this application so we have time to review those comments and the impacts it will have on this application. So that will be my recommendation.
Are there any comments from the applicant's representative?
Good morning, members of the committee. My name is Safis Varatis. I'm the agent for the landowner for my company, Plan Muskoka. I did speak to Sean about this application literally, 20 minutes ago, right before this meeting started. Unfortunately, that comment came in extremely late, which is, unfortunate for everybody. It's understandable, and I understand where he's coming from and where the county's coming from in terms of their comment coming in late. Though it's just really my client is just really disappointed because we've been waiting obviously quite a long time to have this application heard, and for the comment to come in 5 minutes before the meeting starts is terrible. But either way, I think we can hopefully address the situation and one way or another deal with the matter. So we're going to work with Sean and find out what officially those comments pertain to, and hopefully address it and be back in front of you or council with something different in the near future. So that's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Okay, we will be having a meeting at the end of next month, at which time we should be able to deal with this. We'll have further information. We understand your frustration and can see from the drawing that there are some restrictions that you're trying to work within. So hopefully we can resolve this and you can carry on with the process in August. Any other comments, Sean?
We'll just need a motion to defer.
Could I have a mover and a seconder to defer this application to August? Moved by Julie Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment hereby defer minor variance application AHMV 005/20. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Thank you. The next item is, forgive me if I mispronounce this, Vitez on North Shore Road, Maple Lake.
This property is located at 2116 North Shore Road. The lands are currently zoned Shoreline Residential 1 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The lands are approximately 0.29 acres in area with 29.5 meters of frontage on Maple Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling. The owner is proposing to construct a 672 square foot, 1.5 story detached garage. The proposed garage will be located towards the rear of the subject lands and will be 21.4 meters from the high water mark. The lot size limits the proposed garage from being located any further back from the high water mark. Existing vegetation between the proposed building location and the water will act as an effective natural buffer. The proposed detached garage will also increase the accessory structure lot coverage on the subject lands to 5.4%. Therefore, the following minor variances are being requested. One, from section 4.2.6 of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the permitted accessory structure lot coverage from 5% to 5.4%, and from section 4.2.8 of the zoning bylaw to reduce the minimum setback requirement from the high water mark from 30 meters to 21.3 meters for the purposes of constructing a 672 square foot, 1.5 story detached garage. Notice of the application was posted on the property, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands, and to the Maple Beach and Cameron Lakes Property Owners Association. No objections have been received to date, and staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variance subject to the following conditions. One, the lot coverage of the principal building not exceeding 14.6%. Two, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 21.3 meters from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. And three, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, which shall include the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline.
Do we have any comments to be made by the applicant or representative?
Hello, it's Charlene. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just to say that we're in desperate need of storage. We currently, the reason for building the garage is we currently have an old shed that was on the property when we purchased. So we store stuff in there under the cottage, and we have two of the temporary garages that we put up for storage. And we would like to eliminate all of that and have one place to keep everything inside, to keep it safe and out of the weather and so forth.
Do any members of the committee have questions on this particular application? John, you have a question?
Actually, I'm trying to remember. Sean and I had a conversation with respect to a condition that might be applied to this, but I can't remember, Sean, whether you told me that you just put that condition in afterwards or whether we need to make it part of the resolution today. And that condition would be that the garage not be used for human habitation and that there be no fixtures, water fixtures, plumbing fixtures inside the structure. And I can't remember, Sean, how you told me you deal with it in Algonquin Highlands.
Yes, sorry, we can include that as a condition. Generally, it's only to, usually the condition would read that the garage only be used for purposes of storage. Generally, plumbing facilities are permitted within a garage, but we can include that as a condition that they not be, should the committee wish to. My recommendation at this point would be to limit it to storage purposes only. I'm not sure the plumbing aspect would be necessary at this point, but we can certainly consider if the committee wishes to.
Hi, Charlene again. Could I just add, we don't even have intentions on putting electrical in this building. We literally need it for storage. We just want to clean it all up, and I'm sure everybody like us doesn't like looking at the tents or the trailer or things like that where we have to store everything in. And we have no intentions on putting any facilities in for living at all. It's strictly storage.
Would the committee support the idea of putting a condition on the approval that the building be used for storage only?
I
Yes.
have no objection to putting that in.
Okay. Gary?
Yeah, I'm okay with putting the storage limitation on it, but nothing to do with plumbing or electrical for sure.
And Julie?
I'm okay with that as well.
Okay. Could I have a mover and a seconder then for the resolution?
I'll move it as amended.
And I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Chris.
Moved by John Rogers, seconded by Chris Woods. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application AHMV 006/20 to seek relief from section 4.2.6 of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the permitted accessory structure lot coverage from 5% to 5.4%, to permit the construction of a 672 square foot, 1.5 story detached garage, and from section 4.2.8 of the zoning bylaw to reduce the minimum setback from the high water mark from 30 meters to 21.3 meters to permit the construction of a 672 square foot, 1.5 story detached garage, subject to the following conditions. Lot coverage of the principal building not exceeding 14.6%. 2, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 21.3 meters from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. 3, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline. And 4, that the garage be used only for storage purposes. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Short-Reed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Thank you. The next application is Pereira on Highway 60, Oxton Lake.
Yes, this property is located at 4412 Highway 60. The subject lands are zoned recreational commercial, exception 9, and designated as part of the Oxton settlement area in the official plan. The lands are approximately 6.5 acres in area with 50 meters of frontage on Oxton Lake. Surrounding uses are generally recreational commercial, environmental protection, and shoreline residential. The lands are currently developed as a tourist establishment with several structures. The owner is proposing to demolish an existing 45.11 square meter single-story accommodation unit and construct a new 60 square meter accommodation unit with a loft in the same general footprint. The existing unit is currently set back 0 meters from the exterior lot line, and the proposed unit will be 1.2 meters from the same lot line. The proposed unit will be approximately 43 meters from the high water mark, and the proposed location would allow for the existing septic system and driveway to be utilized and would therefore significantly limit required site alteration. The exterior lot line is adjacent to a unopened township road allowance. The following variance is being requested. That from table 2 of comprehensive zoning bylaw 0322 to reduce the minimum exterior side yard setback from 15 meters to 1.2 meters to permit the construction of a 60 square meter accommodation unit. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands, and to the Oxton Lake Property Owners Association. No objections have been received, and staff are recommending approval with the following conditions. 1, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor. The proposed structure is not located closer than 1.2 meters from the exterior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. And 2, that any on-site
I lost
Will be
Gary.
subject to. I'm going to reread the second condition.
If we can just hang on a second
okay.
until we get Gary back. Can you hear us, Gary?
Now I can. I'm having problems with the connection coming on and off here, so I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yep. Okay, if you can continue.
Yes, so I'll clarify the second condition. Typically, this condition is to the approval of the Township of Algonquin Highlands for the septic. In this particular case, it will be the Ministry of Environment because of the size of the system on the property. So the condition reads that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the Township and the Ministry of Environment have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Is the applicant or a representative for the applicant present? If you'd like to speak.
Yes, I am. I'm here. It's Tony.
Would you like to speak to the application?
No, whatever I need to do, then I'll have to do, and that's it. You know, we are inspecting all the septic systems on the property because apparently none of them are on record, apart from two, the newest ones that were put up. So that's going to be starting sometime probably I think early next week by Bob Barnhart. So we know exactly what each cottage takes, and if anything has to be adjusted or made bigger, then that's what we'll have to do.
Does any member of the committee have a question for either Sean or the applicant? Hearing none, could I have a mover and a seconder to hear the resolution?
I will move it.
Moved by Chris Woods.
Second.
Seconded by Gary Trapp.
Moved by Chris Wood, seconded by Gary Trapp. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application AHMV 007/20 to seek relief from Table 2 of the zoning bylaw to reduce the minimum exterior side yard setback from 15 meters to 1.2 meters to permit the construction of a 60 square meter accommodation unit, subject to the following conditions. 1, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 1.2 meters from the exterior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of building. 2, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the Township and the Ministry of Environment have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Thank you. The next item is Cowan on Jones Road, Coushaw Lake.
Yes, this property is located at 1187 Jones Road. The lands are zoned shoreline residential 1 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The lands are approximately 0.69 acres in area with 122.2 meters of frontage on Coushaw Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with 2 dwellings, a garage, and a dock. The owner is proposing to demolish the existing 1,603 square foot single-story dwelling and construct a new 2,520.6 square foot 2-story dwelling. The existing dwelling is currently set back 12.49 meters, and the proposed dwelling will be 8.99 meters from the high water mark. The lands were subject to minor variance application HMV 011/2014. This application was for the purpose of reconstructing the second dwelling on the subject lands. This application was denied by the committee in 2014 and subsequently appealed to the Ontario Municipal Board. The applicant and the township reached a settlement, and the minutes of settlement were approved by the OMB, resulting in the minor variance being granted in part. A copy of those minutes of settlement were attached to my report. The proposed dwelling of today's application will be no closer to the current than the current dwelling setback to the high water mark. A screened-in porch will, however, be 3.5 meters closer than the existing dwelling. The applicant wishes to utilize the cleared area of land which currently exists. Existing site services and structures limit the available building location. And the following minor variances will be required to accommodate this proposal. The first, from section 4.1.53 of the zoning bylaw, to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 8.99 meters for the purpose of constructing a 2,520.6 square foot single family dwelling, as well as from section 4.10.8 of the zoning bylaw to permit the reconstruction and extension of a dwelling on a lot with 2 dwellings. Notice of the application was posted on the property, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands, as well as to the Couchog Lake Property Owners Association. No objections have been received to date, and staff are recommending approval with the following conditions. 1, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 8.9 from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. And I'll just explain that one briefly. The condition from the former minutes of settlement that were approved by the OMB restricted any further development on the subject lands, whereas there could be no increase to the number of habitable rooms in this subject dwelling. And this declaration will essentially confirm that the proposed dwelling, if approved, would not increase the number of habitable rooms. The living space of those rooms will increase, and that's reflected in the increase in square footage, but the number of rooms will remain the same or less. The third condition is that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And 4, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, which shall include the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline.
Is the applicant or representative of the applicant here, and would you like to speak to the application?
Yes, my name is Mark Dorfman. I'm the planner for the applicants, the Cowans. Thank you for the opportunity. I agree with the recommendation that is made by Mr. O'Callaghan and the conditions that have been put forward to the committee. Very briefly, the existing structure, which is a very old dwelling, will be reconstructed on the existing footprint. So there won't be any horizontal increase in the actual dwelling. The purpose of the variance is to allow for a screened-in porch. And as Mr. O'Callaghan had indicated, because the porch will extend from the existing building, the variance is required. There's no increase in the habitable rooms, as Mr. O'Callaghan had indicated, and my client is prepared to enter into the agreement and declaration with respect to the proposed construction. Services are available, and the tile bed has recently been improved as well. So From my point of view and my client's point of view, we are quite satisfied with the recommendation and the conditions that are before the committee. Thank you.
Is there anyone else on the line who wishes to speak to the application? Okay, are there any questions from members of the committee?
Just so I understand this clearly, what was proposed originally was an increased or a new building, which was turned down, and the agreement was to go along with that building with the township, and the screen porch is an addition that the township didn't know about, and hence this is why there is an application. Is that correct, Sean?
No, sorry, this is Mark Dorfman. Go ahead, Sean.
I'm sorry, the question was put to our planner.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Yes, so, no. Yeah, so that's not correct, Chris. The OMB decision was to the other dwelling on the property, which has since been constructed. This application is for the other dwelling on the property that was not part of that OMB appeal.
Okay. All right. So the screen porch is only an addition to that building. Did you hear what I asked?
Yeah, I'm sorry. The screen porch.
Sorry, my question was to Sean still.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean, so the application is a total application, including the screen porch, or it's for?
Hang on, Chris. Can they hear me? Just give us a minute. You were breaking up, Chris, so I'll have to ask you to hold on a moment until we can bring Gary back, and I'll have you ask your question again.
Okay.
I'm back, Liz. I did hear the start of it, but it did cut out for the latter portion, unfortunately.
Okay, Chris, could we hear your question again?
My question is to Sean O'Callahan about the application. Is the application for a building and a screened-in porch, or is it for just the screened-in porch?
This variance is to permit the reconstruction of the dwelling, which would include the porch that will be outside of the original footprint of the dwelling.
Okay, I understand now.
That is something that I find, although this so do you have a concern about that, Chris, or just needed clarification?
I needed clarification. I don't want to stand in the way of them building, but the question really to me is, that's an extension of another so many square feet on that property. Does it have enough room to accommodate that square footage? And that would be where my concern would lie. And Sean could probably answer that.
Yeah, fair point. It is in addition to what the current footprint is. Lot coverage is still being met within the requirements of the zoning bylaw. The screened-in porch is also not defined within the zoning bylaw as a habitable space. Oh, sorry, we just lost Gary.
One moment, further technical difficulties. We're just going to bring Gary back online.
Liz, you just see if Gary can hear us.
Gary, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, the Wi-Fi seems to be cutting in and out here.
I'm wondering if what we might have you do
Not
is,
hearing anything now, unfortunately.
I'll write up the number.
okay, we're just
I
going to,
didn't hear you, but I missed.
you're cutting in and out very badly. If you can hear me, we're going to bring a phone number out to you to call in.
Okay.
So if everyone could just stand by for a couple of minutes, we will get back to business.
I see Gary now.
My audio has reconnected. I don't know if you can hear me. I'm not sure. Sorry about that.
Just hold on just a couple of moments, and we'll bring a phone number out to you so you'll have a clear line to speak to us.
Hello, Liz, can you hear me?
I think this might be the best way for us to continue the rest of the meeting, is that we'll have you participate by phone. And hopefully we won't have any more interruptions, although we are getting some delay. My apologies to everyone.
Okay.
So you're hearing Chris's concern about the porch. Wanted that?
I believe I did.
I've got a bit of a problem with this particular application in that, I mean, everything looks good, but I just, with a brand new construction, and the screened-in porch being a new addition or over and above the house construction, why it couldn't have been designed to be in line with the front of the house, making the setback from the high water mark the same as the house. Mark, are you still on the line?
Yes. Are you speaking to me?
Well, I think you heard my comments. I just wondered if you have any response to that.
Well, the issue, I think the issue is the space that is needed. This is really the only location for this screened-in porch. My client looked at other locations around the building, and this is the most appropriate given the services, and there's trees on the property. So the answer to the question is that as a screened-in porch, it is the most suitable location, and it also is appropriate because it provides access to the house, and it depends on what's inside the house and the whole design. So there were previous iterations of this, and this was the location that was the most appropriate from a structural point of view. And it really is roughly a 3.5 meter extension to the existing building.
My concern is the proximity to the high water mark, and the fact that quite often when a property owner builds a screened-in porch, at some later date, that screened-in porch becomes a permanent room, and it's we often refer to it as porch creep. A deck becomes a screened-in porch, becomes an all-season room, and I'm wondering if the committee would consider putting a condition, an additional condition, that the screened-in porch could not be made into a four-season room at any time in the future.
May I speak to that? May I speak? It's Mark Dorfman speaking. As
Yes.
Sean had indicated, there is a declaration that, in effect, does that. It attests to the fact that no additional habitable room would be built on this building. The porch is not a habitable room, and therefore an additional condition that says no additional habitable rooms, or no, however you want to frame it, that's fine. It just reflects the declaration that my clients are prepared to sign.
Okay, so does just question is to Sean, does our resolution reflect the previous restrictions?
So the resolution does include a condition that would essentially do the same thing in limiting the amount of habitable rooms that are permitted within this building. So it does have the same effect as.
Does the committee have any other questions or concerns about this application? John?
Yes, Madam Chair, I just question, when I did the site visit, there's now a gate that seems to define a compound of buildings, but it was more than just 2 buildings. So is in the site plan that I'm looking at, the heavy line is the property we're dealing with. Is the property, and I'm not sure which, whether it's north, south, east, or west, but the property that says 2-story frame cottage, is that also in the ownership of this owner, or is it a different ownership? I'm trying to get trying to visualize what I actually saw on the site visit.
It's Mark Dorfman speaking. The building that you're referring to is on a separate lot, and it's part of the family's ownership, but it's not part of this particular lot that we are referring to. So the lot that you see on the site concept has the 2 buildings. The other building that you saw, the 2-story building, is on a separate lot, but it's part of the family ownership.
Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Gary, do you have any questions?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I did miss part of that, but I think I got most of the gist of it. Just my comment, I guess, sort of big picture with this was with respect to the one condition back when the agreement was made, condition 2C, that any expansion to add additional habitable rooms would not take place. So I understand, my understanding is that they do meet that condition in terms of numbers of rooms, but it is slightly larger, and my apologies if you've already talked about that. So I think, I'm guessing, it seems that the letter of the condition is being met, and I just I'm trusting that it's sort of in the spirit of what was intended with the OMB conditions, or the conditions between the 2 parties. I do share the concern about the screen porch being a little closer, but as long as it stays as a screen porch, I guess I'd be okay with that.
Any other comments? Okay, could I have a mover and a seconder so that we can hear the resolution? Julie Shortreed moved, seconded by John.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application AHMV 00820 to seek relief from section 4.1.53 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 8.99 meters for the purpose of constructing a 2,520.6 square foot single family dwelling. And 2, from section 4.10.8 of the zoning bylaw to permit the reconstruction and extension of a dwelling on a lot with 2 dwellings, subject to the following conditions. 1, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 8.99 meters from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. 2, the applicant entering into a declaration to the satisfaction of the planner to confirm the number of habitable rooms in the proposed dwelling will not increase beyond what currently exists. 3, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And 4, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, which shall include the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion is carried.
And just another reminder about the 20-day appeal period that construction cannot start before then.
Thank you very much, committee.
Thank you. The next application is McDonald on Swift Lane, Wagamama Lake.
Yes, so this property is located at 1019 Swift Lane. The subject lands are zoned shoreline residential 2 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The lands are approximately 2.18 acres in area with 76.2 meters of frontage on Wagamama Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling, a dryland boathouse, and a wet slip boathouse. The owner is proposing to demolish the existing 1.5-story dwelling and construct a new 2,564 square foot 2-story dwelling. The existing dwelling is currently set back 9.4 meters, and the proposed dwelling will be 10.6 meters from the high water mark. The proposed dwelling will be further back than the current one. The lands are heavily vegetated, and the applicant wishes to utilize the cleared area of land which currently exists. Existing and proposed site infrastructure limit the available building location. This proposed location will allow for the septic system to be located behind the proposed dwelling, maximizing the setback between the septic system and Wagamama Lake. Parking will continue to be located to the rear of the property. The following minor variance is therefore being requested. That from section 4.10.53 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 10.6 meters for the purpose of constructing a 2,564 square foot dwelling, a variance of 4.4 meters. Notice of the application was posted on the property, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands and to the Wagamama Lake Property Owners Association. No objections have been received to date. Staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variance with the following conditions. 1, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 10.6 meters to the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. 2, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And 3, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, which shall include the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline.
Is there a representative of the applicant that wishes to speak to the application?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, committee. It's Lenny Dennis, Wayne Simpson and Associates. I'm a land use planner, and I represent the owner, Mr. McDonald. Did you want me to carry on?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. I think that's a fair and accurate assessment of the proposal, and certainly concur with the planning department to approve the application. I also just wanted to add, I appreciate the efforts and assistance in working with township staff, and also appreciate committee and staff moving forward in these unprecedented times with public meetings. We have no issue with respect to the conditions at all. And maybe just to highlight and run through very briefly the merits of the proposal. The variance is fairly small, it's 4.4 meters. The proposed cottage will be located further back from the shoreline than the existing cottage, as noted by the planner. There's more than adequate mature tree cover along the shoreline to act as a visual and ecological buffer, and certainly the build will not be above the tree line. The site is flat, the site is already cleared. We'll be utilizing more or less the existing building footprint, which minimizes environmental disruption to the lot. The owner has already planted additional trees on the property and was looking to plant even more. A new septic system would be required, and further back from the shoreline rather than closer to the lake, which will be a better situation than having the septic out front and the building further back. The lot consists of about 2.1 acres in size, and certainly with the amount of frontage, 250 feet, there's ample room to accommodate the dwelling located at this particular location. On that note, I respectfully request committee approve the application. Thank you.
Are there any questions or concerns from the committee?
One comment, please, Madam Chair. I'm getting interference from a phone conversation on a Bob M on my line, and it's kind of interfering with the applicant's discussion, Ms. Lanny. Is there an administrator there that can mute that call?
Just hold one moment, Chris, and we'll check on that. Okay.
It's now muted on mine.
We can hear you better.
You can hear me better now.
Yeah.
That was all I had. I thought this application was fine.
Any other comments or questions?
Madam Chair, just one question. When I looked at the floor plan or perspectives of the building, there seems to be almost like a cupola at the top of the building that is in one of the drawings. The other drawings makes it look like it's a chimney. If it's a cupola, I'm just wondering whether height restriction is going to be an issue with that particular design.
So that would be exempt from the height requirements if it's a cupola or a chimney.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, not hearing any further comments or concerns. If I could have a mover and a seconder to hear the resolution.
I'll move it.
Moved by Chris, seconded by Julie.
Moved by Chris Woods, seconded by Julia Shortreed. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application AHMV 00920 submitted by McDonald to seek relief from section 4.10.53 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 10.6 meters for the purpose of constructing a 2,564 square foot dwelling, subject to the following conditions. One, that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 10.6 meters from the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. Two, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And three, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, which shall include the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline. And sorry, my apologies. There was one other person who wanted to speak, or at least registered to speak to the application, which is the applicant, Bob McDonald, and I wasn't sure if Bob had anything he wanted to add.
Mr. McDonald, did you wish to speak before we vote on the resolution? Was that who we muted?
But yeah, okay, that sounds like there's no comments.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, no comment here. Just thanks to the committee for the consideration.
Thank you.
Right, so I've read the motion. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. The next application is from McCann on Wolf Circle in Coagama Lake.
This property is located at 1143 Wolf Circle. The the lands are currently zoned shoreline residential 2 and designated waterfront under the official plan. The lands are approximately 0.68 acres in area with 29.9 meters of frontage on Quagama Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling, a sleeping cabin, a shed, and 2 docks. The owner is proposing to demolish the existing docks and reconstruct a single dock on the same general footprint. The combined width of the existing docks results in a shoreline structure width of approximately 90%. The proposed single dock will result in an overall reduction in the shoreline structure width to 63.1%. Both existing docks are currently set back 0 meters from each side property line, with the one to the north of the subject lands actually encroaching in front of the adjacent parcel. The proposed dock will correct the encroachment issue along with increasing the setback to the southerly interior lot line from 0 meters to 2.4 meters. The proposed dock will result in an overall reduction of approximately 26.9% in shoreline activity area. The waterfront area of the subject lands are extremely steep rock with an existing single access path. The remaining shoreline area remains in a natural state, a mixture of rock outcroppings and mature vegetation. The proposed dock will therefore require the following minor variance approvals. 1, from section 4.2.9D of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the maximum permitted width of shoreline structures from 30% to 63.1%, as well as from section 4.2.9E of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the minimum interior side yard setback for a dock from 4.5 meters to 2.4 meters. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands, as well as to the Quagama Lake Property Owners Association. No objections have been received to date. A letter of support was received from the property owner of the adjacent lands to the south of the subject property. Staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variance with the following condition: that confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 2.4 meters from the southerly interior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit.
Is the applicant or a representative of the applicant here to speak to the proposal?
Yes, I'm here. Rick McCann. I'm one of the owners, myself and my wife. First of all, I must say kudos to all involved for figuring out the technology so we can have this meeting. You guys are ahead of most municipalities that I've been involved with. Essentially, as Sean has indicated, what we're hoping to do is removing both docks. They're old, but they're back in the mid 80s, and then replacing with just one with a shrunk version, moving away from the side lot lines in both cases, north and south. We need to extend this proposed new main dock a bit towards the south to the Heathcocks, the chap that had supported our application, just to meet up with our only access. We only have one kind of a goat trail down to the dock, and to meet up with that, we have to move the dock, the access onto the dock just a little bit over towards the Heathcocks. Any of you that have been to the site will attest that it is a goat trail to the lake. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, it is. Do any members of the committee have questions or concerns about this application? It's nice to see a reduction in the use of the shoreline. No questions or concerns? If I could have a mover and a seconder for the resolution, please.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Seconder?
I'll second it.
Chris, thank you.
Moved by John Rogers, seconded by Chris Woods. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application HMV 01020 to seek relief from section 4.2.9D of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the maximum permitted width of shoreline structures from 30% to 63.1% for the purpose of constructing a 62-foot wide dock. And 2, from section 4.2.9E of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the minimum interior side yard setback for a dock from 4.5 meters to 2.4 meters, subject to the following conditions. 1, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed structure is not located closer than 2.4 meters from the southerly interior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. And that's the only condition. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Thank you. The next item is an application from Manning and Ibsher on International Drive, Coaguama Lake.
This property is located at 1011 International Drive. The subject lands are zoned shoreline residential 2 and designated waterfront in the official plan. The lands are approximately 0.95 acres in area with 46.3 meters of frontage on Coaguama Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling, 2 sheds, and a dock. The owner is proposing to construct a 2-story garage with an attached single-story carport. The subject lands are quite steep, sloping towards the water. The height of a building is determined along the front side, being the water side of the building, and the steepness of the lot will therefore result in the height exceeding the maximum of 6 meters. The proposed garage will be located more than the minimum 30-meter setback from the high water mark. So the applicant is requesting a single minor variance, and that is for the height, and that is from section 4.2.5 of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the maximum height of an accessory structure from 6 meters to 7 meters for the purpose of constructing a 2-story, 768 square foot garage plus a 352 square foot single story attached carport. Notice of the application was posted on the property, posted on the township website, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands and to the Coaguama Lake Property Owners Association. No objections have been received to date, and staff would recommend approval of the proposed minor variance with the following condition: the garage being used only for storage purposes.
Is there someone here to speak to the application?
Yes, really no comments, just here in case there's any questions.
Okay. Are there questions from the committee members? Questions or concerns? Hearing none. Could I have a mover and a seconder to hear the resolution? Moved by Julie Shortreed. Seconded by John Rogers.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application AHMB 01120 submitted by Manning and Ibsher to seek relief from section 4.2.5 of the zoning bylaw to permit an increase in the maximum height of an accessory structure from 6 meters to 7 meters for the purpose of constructing a 2-story, 768 square foot garage plus a 352 square foot single story attached carport, subject to the following condition: the garage being used only for storage purposes. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Thank you. And finally, the last application is from Woodburn on West Clark Trail, Coaguama Lake.
property is located at 1703 West Clark Trail. The lands are currently zoned shoreline residential 2 and designated waterfront in the official plan. The lands are approximately 1.58 acres in area with 50 meters of frontage on Kawagama Lake. Surrounding uses are generally shoreline residential, and the lands are currently developed with a dwelling, a detached garage, a sleeping cabin, sauna, shed, and a dock. The owner is proposing to construct a 200 square foot addition on the side of the existing dwelling. The existing dwelling is currently set back 4.26 meters, and the proposed addition will be 4.5 meters from the high water mark. The applicant is proposing to relocate an existing 90 square foot sleeping cabin closer to the southerly interior side yard to accommodate the proposed addition. This relocation will, however, still result in the sleeping cabin being closer to the principal dwelling, including the proposed addition than the required 2 meter separation. The proposed addition will not project beyond the front face of the existing dwelling. The subject lands are limited in available building locations that would conform to the zoning requirements due to lot size, septic location, and other topographical constraints. There is also significant natural vegetation in front of the proposed development, forming an effective natural buffer. The owner of the adjacent lands to the south have provided a letter of support of the proposed encroachment of the sleeping cabin. The proposed 200 square foot addition on the side of the dwelling will require the following minor variance, and that's from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 4.5 meters for the purpose of constructing a 200 square foot addition. The relocation of the sleeping cabin will also require a minor variance, and that is from section 4.2.10.4 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required southerly interior side yard setback from 3 meters to 2.28 meters. The bunkie the sleeping cabin will also require the following minor variance, and that is from section 4.2.3 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from a principal building from 2 meters to 1.2 meters. Notice of the application was posted on the property, circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the subject lands, as well as to the Kawagama Lake Property Owners Association. One letter of support was received from the owners of the adjacent lands to the south of the subject property. No objections have been received, and staff are recommending approval of the proposed minor variance with the following conditions. One, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed addition is not located closer than 4.5 meters to the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. Two, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the relocated sleeping cabin is not located closer than 2.28 meters from the southerly interior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. Three, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And four, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline.
Thank you. Is there anyone representing the applicant that wishes to speak?
Yes, that's Bob Woodburn. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Woodburn.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, thanks to all of you sitting on this committee on this beautiful day. It's a big service and it's a big job and it's important, so I appreciate that. And I want to thank a special thank you to Sean for taking this novice through, coming up to the site early and taking me through this process. It's been really helpful. So basically, after 53 years, and this owner's age and the bugs and I not getting along anymore, we want to build a screen porch and a bunk room, and my 2 grown children, their families are all in on this as well. The relief we're being requested is obvious on the high water mark, and then we have to move this small bunkie over.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby approves minor variance application HMV 012/20 to seek relief from section 4.10.52 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from the high water mark from 15 meters to 4.5 meters for the purpose of constructing a 200 square foot addition to an existing dwelling. 2, from section 4.2.10.4 of the zoning bylaw, to permit a reduction in the required southerly interior side yard setback from 3 meters to 2.28 meters for the purpose of relocating an existing 90 square foot bunkie. And 3, from section 4.2.3 of the zoning bylaw to permit a reduction in the required setback from a principal building from 2 meters to 1.2 meters for the purpose of relocating an existing 90 square foot bunkie, subject to the following conditions. 1, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the proposed addition is not located closer than 4.5 meters to the high water mark prior to any clearing or site alteration or the issuance of a building permit. 2, confirmation be provided from an Ontario land surveyor that the relocated sleeping cabin is not located closer than 2.28 meters from the southerly interior side lot line prior to any clearing or site alteration of the issuance of a building permit. 3, that any on-site sewage system permits and reviews required by the township have been obtained and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit. And 4, that appropriate construction mitigation measures be implemented, including the erection and maintenance of silt fencing between the proposed building and the shoreline. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay.
That motion's carried.
Thank you. That concludes the application portion of our meeting. The only other item of business is for us to set a subsequent meeting date, which I'm assuming might be August the 28th.
Yes, I do have 5 applications that I can bring to that August 28th meeting, and that will work for me if it works for the committee.
Are the members of the committee available on August the 28th at 1 o'clock?
Yes, I am.
As far as I know, I am.
Okay.
And yes, I am.
And Gary?
Yes.
Okay, could I just would like to thank everyone for their patience. We've had a few technical difficulties, but actually not too bad given that that's our first attempt at a Zoom meeting for the Committee of Adjustment. So once again, thank you for your patience. And if I could have a mover and a seconder for an adjournment.
Just one question, one statement more than a question. There were 10 applicants there. Was that because of such a delay from our previous meeting? That was the reason for so many applications?
Yes, we had 5 applications scheduled for our March meeting, which was canceled, and I had received those additional 5 applications since that time. So,
do we, in the future, will you be planning on only doing 5 maximum, or are you limited, or does it really matter?
there are legislated timeframes when an application has to be heard. So generally, we're kind of restricted in when we can bring an application forward. We can't really just set a maximum.
Okay, I don't object. This actually went faster than I thought it was going to be. I thought we'd be here a lot longer.
Yeah.
So that was just a question more than anything. Thank you.
So could I have a mover and a seconder for adjournment? Moved by Julie, seconded by John. Thanks, everyone. Much appreciate your time.
Moved by Julia Shortreed, seconded by John Rogers. Be it resolved, the Committee of Adjustment hereby adjourns its regular meeting at 2:34 p.m. Liz Danielson, yay or nay?
Yay.
John Rogers, yay or nay?
Yay.
Julia Shortreed, yay or nay?
Yay.
Gary Trapp, yay or nay?
Yay.
And Chris Woods, yay or nay?
Yay. And Sean, I assume we didn't see you because your beard is really, really long.
Yes, that's exactly why. Yeah.
Good meeting. Very, very well as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll make Sean come on screen next meeting. Thanks, everyone. Just hold for one moment while we shut the system down.